my name is Jaksik, aka Annika. Welcome to my channel. Very happy to see you here, and today is finally, I think, the last episode of all my finished coloring pages and WIP-s. And today we're talking about my PDF pages, of which there aren't very many because I do prefer to work in actual books, but I do have some. And the way it works in my world before I actually go to the page is that I don't print out whole books. I print out pages kind of selectively, what it feels like I might want to do. Maybe I get a book or get a page and I print out a couple of copies maybe. And I have one folder that is A4, kind of a letter size if you're in States, I guess. And it has kind of full-sized pages. I usually print on mixed media paper because that is what I like to work on. I can do both pencils and wet media on there, so I really enjoy working on mixed media paper. And some of them come kind of are better than others, but still, yeah, I can work on most of them. So as you can see, there's kind of variety of different books, and there's kind of artists, and there's only a kind of maybe couple of pages from each book, because I don't like to waste the paper, because I know I'm never going to color the whole book. So I do take only a couple of pages that appeal to me. And then I have two A5 presentation books, which basically one of them has stuff that is mostly kind of portraits and humans, and another one has kind of scenes and animals and creatures and that sort of stuff. So this is how little I actually have. And this A4 one is helpfully labeled as swatches and instructables, because that's what used to be here at first, and I never bothered to change it. So this is how organized I am. Oh, now this one is just a printout. This is on fairly bad paper. It's one of kind of a thinner and cheaper mixed media papers that I had to use because one of the only printers I could use to print at work I had access to didn't really take thicker paper. So I had to use thinner one for, most of the kind of for a while. Now I have access to a bit better printers, so I can get thicker paper through as well. But for a while I had to use this fairly, maybe it's 150 GSM, but it works fine. And because it's mixed media, it has decent sizing, and you can actually dissolve water-based markers on it. You can use watercolors on it, kind of, if you do it kind of sensibly. She has, this is just a WIP. This is I feel that this is acrylic wash base here, and in the background I know it was just one water-based marker that I kind of scribbled onto the cutting mat and then kind of made this quick background. And it is waiting until I get a feeling and urge. It's like that. She's kind of A5 format. It actually would go pretty fast, so once it's on this stage and the base is done, it's an evening or two and I would have a page ready. And this one here is from Destiny Lauritsen, who does really cute line art. I think she's on Etsy. She also has her own website where she sells her stuff. This is pure alcohol markers. I think they are, pretty sure they're actually Pro markers I did that with, or Pro markers and Spectrum Raw markers. The texture in the background is done with, I put down a single color of of a dark marker, and then I went in and kind of did some dotting into it with lighter markers, and you get this nice kind of a textured, interesting kind of background. I didn't put any pencils into it, therefore it's kind of pale and it doesn't look very like me. But you know, it doesn't mean that it's bad or anything. And this paper is actually very smooth. This is kind of paper I use for marker work. You know, if I do markers, I use this paper. It's not that great for pencils, but it's really nice for markers. It's very smooth and nice. And I used to do marker work a lot some time ago, so I have, you know, still a stash of pretty decent marker paper. And then there's nothing else here. I haven't really done many of these pages, and some of them that I printed out, which is why I don't print out many, because quite a lot of them, you know, I have liked and I have printed it out, and now that I'm looking at them, I kind of go, you know, I'm not really sure if I want to do them, not that keen on them anymore. So yeah, tastes change, you know, there's never enough time, so I try to print sparingly. And this is now the kind of fairly late, or kind of the latest pages I've done. This is from Coloring Heaven Romantic Fantasy Edition by Fabiana Tvere, don't really know how to pronounce it, sorry. And this is based with watercolor, kind of a lot of thin glazes of watercolor. And then on top, I think I had luminance pencils and something else. I don't remember exactly what, but there were definitely luminance pencils involved here. And the other one is kind of a next page, or kind of one of the other pages on the same edition of Coloring Heaven. And that one was also done with the same technique. I used loads of watercolor washes in the background. And, you know, on the, you know, everything pretty much, I kind of unified everything with underlaying colors. And then I worked on top with Marco Renoir pencils and Chromaflow pencils, from, if I remember correctly. This last kind of A4 image I have is from Coloring Heaven Robin Hood edition by Eva Nikunen. And I really like how she draws people and animals. I don't like how kind of a itsy bitsy teeny weeny she goes with kind of a leaves and kind of foliage and plants on the side. It's kind of feels excessive, out of proportion, kind of a little bit to me. But I really like how she draws people and animals, yeah. And I like that edition a lot. And this one is done just with water-based markers. Some of them diluted direct on the paper, like here I pretty much done all the, you know, background is pretty much straight on the paper and then kind of, you know, washed out in the middle here, and I added some pencil circles. Oh, that little glow behind him. And I'd say 95% of everything is done direct on the paper with water-based markers and washed out with water brush, you know, kind of put dark color down here and then take the brush to it and just wash out to here, type of a thing. And then some kind of a darker parts and sort of minimal shading added with pencils as well. I do not remember anymore what pencils. Next one we're gonna go into is this A5 PDF prints, and this one now is kind of all sorts of creatures, animals, little scenes, not much people in this one. And I have them kind of, I tried to organize them at some stage, but then they got mixed up anyway as I was taking things out and put them back in. Okay, this one is a book I absolutely adore, and I keep reminding myself that I should do these pages more often because they go very fast. and the art is delightful and very funny, and it's a free book. It's by, I think his first name is Brian Kesinger, and the book is The Pen Dragons, and if you go to his website, that's actually a free download, and his art is just so fun. And all of this is done background, the clouds, it's alcohol markers, just pure alcohol marker, nothing else. And then the dragon is done with water-based markers and fine liners and gel pens, and there's no pencils here. I don't think so anyway. I'm trying to see, and no, all the shading has been kind of scribbled in with fine liners and then highlights put on with gel pens. And I love how the dragon is reading The Hobbit and crying because it's such a sad book, because the dragon dies. Isn't it just horrible? Anyway, I just, I like his sense of humor, I like his images, and I really should do more of them. This one also, like Jack in a Box, a la dragon. So that's the one. Like dragon, scary Jack in the Box. Isn't it just so adorable? And this is once again the background, pretty sure is done with alcohol markers, and then the same technique for the dragon. I've used here water-based markers and gel pens and fine liners for shading. So all this deep shading and highlights are done with fine liners and gel pens. And this one went bad. I kind of ruined it with those stupid neon highlights on the dragon's back. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes we all are having bad days. So it's actually kind of a fun little scene, the dragon hiding behind the tree and the knight looking for the dragon. But I just did those, I went overboard with them. It was one of those gel pens that dried much brighter and much more prominent than it actually went down. And I kind of, miscalculated. So not happy with that page, but hey, I can't always hit the 10. Okay, so this is also from Robin Hood, Coloring Heaven edition by Eva Nikunen. This is also done with water-based markers. Pretty much, let me see if I can see tiny bits of pencil here in some areas, kind of to add extra shading. But yeah, 99% is done with water-based markers. Mostly, some of it kind of direct on the page and then kind of little pencil on top. Some of it was put onto the cutting mat again and picked up with the water brush. You can see the rabbits are done like this. And then I've added a little bit of gel pen as well. I actually like that page. I think it came out kind of cute. I even did the targeting correct colors, I think. This one is, the image is by, I think the author's name is, the artist's name is Elizabeth Best, and the book is called Dragon Babies. I'm not 100% sure, I haven't checked now before making this video here if the book is still available on Etsy, but I think it should be. If I can find a link, I will put it in there. This is, once again, there's, the background is done, I think it was done possibly with Roman Schmal watercolors, those color variations. I think it's indigo and possibly quinacridone rose or something like this, kind of dropped into wet background, so you get those color variations, which, I like doing, they're always fun. And then the dragon is based, I think, was also with watercolors, and then some pencil on top. And then there's, I think, acrylic white marker here, and some of the Glamour Dust paint, the clear glitter one on the ice. So in real life, it actually looks, you know, pretty nice and shiny, those ice shards the dragon is riding on. And this next to it is now also watercolors and minimum pencils. This is pretty much case in most of those things, because since it's mixed media paper, I take advantage of the fact that I can use water-based media a lot. So yeah, watercolors and then some pencils on top. Very, very simple page, very fast page, but I like the image. Okay, and my wonderful Annie Day, whom I love dearly, Morgan O'Brien. This is Annie Day Winter Tales, I think is the name of the book. And this is just, I'm pretty sure it was alcohol marker base. And then I know that it was Pablo pencils on top. I recognize those Pablo grays. They're beautiful. Kind of brown grays. Really love them. Love those tones. Very natural kind of fur tones in Pablos. So I can recognize these. They're lovely. And yeah, I'm very happy with this page. And those, you know, when you print them in A5s, they're such an easy little wins. You know, they don't take long, and they're kind of come fairly easy to me. This one is not that successful, but it's kind of, you know, all right. Any day. Skating. Not really happy. I had idea for the background, but it didn't really materialize. So yeah, it's acrylic paint in the background. There's quite a bit of pencil work. I did the sky here, but there's base of something that was in the sky, and then I did everything. I went over everything with pencils here. I can see that, you know, absolutely the whole image is worked over with pencils. Oh yeah, it's not my worst page, but not my best page either. And here we have Matchstick Mouse. I tend to buy his books, his PDFs, just to support him, kind of Irish independent artist. And then, you know, I print out some pages to do occasionally when I feel like, you know, doing little cute things like this. They are done, let's put it that way, 95% again water-based markers, and then some pencil on top usually. Because here you can see that, you know, all those blending and, you know, those kind of effects on his face are done with water-based markers, but then I went in with darker pencils, kind of, that tightened everything a bit in his face. And the sky and everything is done with water-based markers, but, you know, there's a little bit of darker pencil here in the wheat to kind of give a bit more contrast. And the background is Artex black brush marker, that the ones that came in a pack. I don't remember, was it 6 or 8 or something like this, which I'm not very happy with because it's kind of streaky, you know, the finish isn't great. It doesn't really look nice. Maybe if I put down several layers, but, you know. This one is Matchstick Mouse, I think Adventure is the book called. And once again, it's water-based markers. This one is pretty much almost all water-based markers. I see very little, tiny bit in the trees and here in the hat rim and stuff like this. I see some darkened bits with pencils, but, you know, most of the work has been done with water-based markers. And, you know, here you can actually see how I've actually applied the water-based markers in stripes like that, in the pure on the paper, and then kind of went over with them gently with a water brush. And you get this kind of movement effect in the sky, because you have a little bit of that streakiness showing, but it kind of looks deliberate. This is also from the Adventure book, Morgan O'Brien, Matchstick Mouse Adventure. and you know, super easy again. And again, it's water-based markers everywhere, and then little tiny bits of dark pencil to give it some extra contrast and extra dimension. And the background is gray, I think it's gray yeah, it's gray chalk paint, which I got a big huge kind of a tube of from Lidl once, and now I'm just using it up everywhere cheerfully. It's really nice and has a good coverage, nice kind of a soft matte texture. And this one, I think it was it was also the adventure book, I think, if I'm correct now. And you know, simple. And you like, without me saying, you can probably see that it's water-based markers and a very little bit of pencil. And the pencil is usually in the deepest shadows, you know, where the hat trim, and some, you know, extra added to the eye to give that kind of a more natural eye effect. And, you know, kind of everywhere that wanted that extra contrast. And then there's a bit of gel pens usually involved as well, which I didn't mention for the previous pages, but I think it was kind of obvious if you looked at them. And I think that should be it, if I'm not mixing anything up now. Yeah, I think that's it in this one. And then I have this book, which has now a lot of kind of portraits and people and kind of a bit more elaborate work, let's put it that way. So this is from I think it's also by Eva, no, it's Fabiana Tvere. It's Fabiana Tvere, Little Mermaid, Coloring Heaven edition. And they sell it on their website as a PDF as well. So I, of course, went for the PDF version. And this is the scene now when she dissolves into sea foam. And I kind of tried to give that impression that she's becoming kind of water here. And, you know, all that sea foam and the spray around her, and the hair is dissolving into the sea foam, kind of a sea spray. But I'm not sure if I really got it. But I still like it. Like, it was a good attempt. And I found the image interesting and, you know, nice challenge to do. And obviously I had heavy watercolor, kind of a wash background here. And then I put pencils on top. These ones are actually kind of interesting and fun. I'm going to take them both out together because they were done like right after each other. This is from Coco Wire Zodiac book, which I actually, like the portraits in it I like. I don't really like much else, but I do like these portraits. And I have this style going on there that I do, you know, for every Zodiac girl, I'm doing the galaxy hair, obviously. So this one is the one I started with, and it started with that little set of Brutfuner skin colors, which I got. I had an order from Temu, and some sort of promotion. I got a free set. I could choose, but I took as a free gift, and I picked 26 set of skin color pencils from Brutfuner. That's the set. And I kind of wanted to test out, you know, what I can do with it. And to be honest, I can do a lot. Here, she had very kind of a pale watercolor base, like super pale. And then I tried to see, you know, how far I can take her skin with these pencils. And as you can see, I'm pretty happy with the skin, you know. I like how she came out. It's, you know, tricky to get darker skin from very light base like this, especially with the budget pencils. But yeah, I think it came out all right. And the hair is watercolor. I think it might have been White Nights possibly, that watercolor. And then there's water-based markers as a base, you know, pure down there in the flowers and the clothes. And then, yeah, all the skin is done with Brutfuner 26 set of skin color pencils, and I think it's lovely. And these kind of symbols and arches and whatever in the sky are just, I went over the gold gel pen. And this one I took the same set and it's like, okay, I go on the opposite, I do a really pale skin, you know, can I do that there? So yeah, you know, it worked out fine with the same set of pencils. Absolutely possible to do, you know, both that and that. No, I'm not being paid by Brutfuner. And nobody has given me anything for free. Well, this pencil did come free, but not from Brutfuner. And I don't remember, you know, what other pencils I used. You know, it probably was whatever I had on the desk, I just grabbed. And of course, there's a lot of kind of water-based marker here. You can see in the flowers, a lot of work was already done with that. And then the hair, I think, was Roman Schmall watercolor. So yeah, I was very happy with these two, and I had fun doing it. This is my big failure. This is, oh, I don't remember the artist's name, but it's Coloring Heaven Gothic Pinups. I know the name and I can't say it now. Gothic Pinups edition, which is a, you know, fun edition, and I messed it up big time. I wanted to go really kind of a shaded and kind of a, she's basically in the dark, so I wanted to be really deep, the shading, but I went really wrong with eyes. And then because I had pretty much damaged the paper and the line art was falling apart, I couldn't really fix much anymore. I tried, but nothing would go on the top anymore, so the eyes look super weird. And I should have darkened, like I left too much highlight here. I should have darkened up, you know, more upwards here. But yeah, it just, you know, big fail. But once again, learned a lot. Nothing is in vain. So yeah, there's a couple of more images printed out from that book, so hopefully I'll get to these soon enough. I think I have to, if I do that one, I need to probably print it out a bit bigger because it's a bit too detailed for A5 format. And here I have some, I think it's Bridgerton edition from Coloring Heaven. And this is Little Mermaid, again Coloring Heaven, Fabiana Tvere. And I really like this one. Really like this one. It's the background is done, I actually remember I put down the colors direct on the paper with water-based markers, and then I kind of washed them out straight on the paper with a water brush, and then I dropped water into it, like all those dots and kind of a light effects. It's basically I dropped water, pure clean water into them, let it sit for 30 seconds or a minute, and then I patted it off the paper with a rag, or was, you know, kitchen paper or something like this, and you get this interesting effect of a background for sea. And everything is pretty much based with pretty bold water-based marker. And then there's, if I remember correctly, it might have been Black Widows on the skin and kind of, you know, a little bit of shading, but there's not too much shading here. Most of the shading was already done with water-based markers, and the skin color and even the skin shadows were mostly already created with water-based markers. If you want to see how I do that, I have a reel on Instagram. If you go to my Instagram account, from my description you can find my Instagram handle, and there's a reel where I show how I build up skin colors with water-based markers. You only need a couple of colors and you can get pretty decent results. So, but I really like that one. And there's these ones are, I think they're also Fabiana Twera, but I think this is called also Coloring Heaven, but I think they're called like World of Princesses or something like this. And it's actually printed on really heavy, I think this one might have been Strathmore mixed media paper or something like this. And it has a pretty strong texture, which I didn't account for, and for a fairly small image like this, you know, it's kind of hard to achieve a smooth, clean blend on the skin if there's such a heavy texture on the paper. I mostly achieved it by using Prismacolors because you can pretty much smush them into the tooth, but yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. But I think the skin actually came out nice, and you know, kind of this very Caucasian, very white skin, which I kind of enjoy creating. And then, you know, everything, there's a lot of base, once again, with water-based markers. But the background, you know, that deep red, that's watercolors. That's created with watercolors. And then I sprinkled Colira gold. I think there was 2 or 3 different gold Colira watercolors I sprinkled on there. And this one, I really love that one. Come on. Come out. And same story, it's on this very textured, kind of a heavy paper. And it's by Fabiana Twera, again, in the same Coloring Heaven Princesses book. And this I demonstrate with this specific image, you know, how to do skin with just, I think it was 4 water-based markers. It's quite easy, and you know, I actually have fairly detailed, fairly long reel on Instagram, demonstrates that. And you know, there's also how I did the snakes and stuff like this. And the background, I really love that. They're kind of inks, but the inks have mica in it, so you get those really cool effects if you move it like this. You know, some areas have more mica, some areas have less, and it gets really interesting washes, and it's really fun. I like that one. So really enjoyed doing that. So what else do I have here? Okay, this African princess. I don't think there was a specific country associated with that one. And this one as well, the background is ink, you know, the same kind of a mica ink. I don't know, it's not as visible with that, but if I move it, you can see this kind of like glints and glitter. And from what I remember, once again, everything was based with water-based marker, and then Prismacolors, I think, on top. And kind of, this is like dark, kind of golden dark skin, which I really enjoy rendering, but not, it's actually hard to find images that I like to practice darker skin on. Funnily enough, our coloring books seem to be mostly very white. Here we have, this is now the Robin Hood edition again of the Coloring Heaven, and this is Queen Eleanor, and she's done with water-based markers. And you can see how I just washed it out. You know, I put straight water-based markers on the paper and washed them out straight on the paper. Kind of, you need to work quickly, but you can get pretty fun results. And this is just water-based marker applied to the background, and then I dropped clean water onto it again and picked it up with either rag or kitchen paper, and you get those fun background effects. So that's Queen Eleanor, and this is the Druid or Maid Marian. Not really 100% sure, but definitely a Druid, maybe both. And yeah, once again, just water-based marker diluted direct on the paper, or sometimes I just blend one, like I put dark tones on first, and then I go in with lighter tones and blend things out and create blends direct on the paper, just like you would with alcohol markers, really. And then there's some, like I worked a little bit in the darkest areas and a little bit extra shading on the face, just to give it enough tighten things. But other than that, this is just a WIP, the background in for Alan of Dale, and there's some more printouts. This, oh, I don't remember the author's name, but it's basically tarot cards. I think was like Great Arcana. I think most of them. I really don't remember the author, but this is watercolor base once again, and then pencils on top. And not much embellishing going on. The card is strength, I know that. I like how I did the magic, that I used different color. So, and there's some in the mane of the lion. I've actually used, I don't know if you can see, to kind of make my life easier, I've used some fine liner as well to add some extra darkness there. Oh, let's just leave it here so I wouldn't waste time. So next one is another one from Zodiac that should have really been with other Zodiac ones, but it was printed different time, therefore, and I can't really be bothered, rearranging the book constantly. But once again, you can see there's a galaxy here, and you can also see how badly at that stage my printer was printing. That is a printer at work. It doesn't even look as bad at first, but as you manipulate it or touch it or kind of put your hand on it, the color just wore off like this. It was all kind of supposedly was supposed to be kind of pitch black, and you can see how all the color is just worn off. So that's why I was especially unenthusiastic about coloring PDFs at some stage, because I just did not get good results because the line art kept smearing everywhere. Okay, this is from Coloring Heaven's Sorcerers and Sorceresses edition. One of my favorites as an edition and also as a work. I really enjoy what I did here. And this is one of those where I pretty much put on unified base at first for everything. And then I created those kind of water effects, different tones dropped in, and kind of a movement of water created with watercolors, which is really easy to do if you're just doing big washes and everything is uniformly wet. Then you can very easily create those interesting kind of water effects. And then I dropped in some, I think it was initially just for the face, when the paper is still damp, I had dropped in just in this spot and kind of on the hands a little bit of, I think it was transparent yellow ochre, just to give it warmer tone. And then the rest of it I left pretty much mostly kind of uniform and kind of those sea tones, a little bit of a kind of texture. And then afterwards I applied a wash with different colors, where I decided what color anything is going to be, and then I went in with pencils, and I think they might have been Black Widow pencils. I don't really remember very well, but there's a lot of sparkles here, as you can see, different metallic watercolors. There's Coliro, there's some stickles here. It was really fun to do, and I think it came out really cool. And here is another image from the same book. So it's Hollow Moon Art, Sorcerers and Sorceresses, Coloring Heaven special edition. And her skin was done with alcohol marker, and the rest of it, I think, pretty sure, yeah, I was done with water-based markers and then pencils on top. And it came out, I did not plan for it to become so colorful. I kind of overdid it, so kind of elements get lost because there's so many colors and they kind of start clashing and fighting with each other. But I still like it. I like her face. I like how her face came out. But yeah, I could have made a bit better, more deliberate color choices, but hey, none of us are perfect. This is Aquarius, and she also has sorry, the artist is Mystic Art Mirrors, and this is her PDF book of star signs or zodiac. Don't remember exact name, but you get the gist. And then the base here is Roman Small watercolors. This looks like Misty Morning. That's pretty much one color, but it like breaks down into those beautiful kind of a bluey and greeny and purplish tones. It's really pretty, especially on a good, decent paper like this. It really kind of shows its beauty. And she's done with Prismacolors, and then with hair, I did the base with different kind of soft blues and pinks and aquas, and then I went over everything, loads and loads of strands and brush strokes of Winsor Newton, or was it Winsor Newton white ink or Amsterdam acrylic ink? But anyway, it was white ink, and I just kept going and kept putting more and more strands in until I got this really luminous, glowy blonde effect, which is what I wanted her hair to look like. And another one, this is Sagittarius from the same book, same author, same story, Prismacolors. These are once again watercolors. Here I've splattered some Colero gold, different gold colors onto that base. And yeah, I think I put at first kind of soft base of watercolors down, and then Prismacolors on top. And there's obviously some gel pens as well, as you can see here. And do I have more here? I have a feeling this is a WIP. Basically, it's Cancer by the same like Colomone art. I only put the base down. This is what the base would have been, kind of like for most of them. So I still need to do the shading. Let me see. I think we're getting there. I think we might be finished, are we? Yes, that was it. That's all my PDFs. So hopefully there was something interesting here for you. Thank you very much for watching. This series is now for this year at least completed. Maybe I'll do, update in a year or two time. And I think I will soon start talking about kind of my stash and my art materials, because a lot of people have asked about that. So why not? We can talk through what I have, what I like, what I use the most, and stuff like this. Okay, have a lovely evening or morning or afternoon, whatever the time is in your corner of the world. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, comment. Helps hugely with YouTube algorithm to help those videos to get to more people. And thank you very much for staying with me, for watching me, for being such a lovely, kind and welcoming community. And bye bye.